I'm going to be honest, it was hard for me to even begin to trust people. There was purpose within the pain, and the purpose was to set me apart. God started the process of setting me apart. Hello and welcome in to the Thrive with Dee podcast. I'm excited because today our topic, we are going to be talking about how to bounce back from pain, from hurt. So go ahead, grab your journals, grab your notebook, whatever you need, because we're diving in. Okay, so how do you bounce back from pain, from hurt, from people who have literally just things have happened to you? How do you bounce back? Okay, so here's a story. Years ago, I went through some pretty traumatizing, experience. I had a group of friends. They were my friends. I loved them more like sisters, right? And I kid you not, this group of friends, we went through a lot of things together, did things together, grew up together, but very quickly something happened, and when that situation occurred, it showed their true colors. Number one, it showed who they really were, showed what side they were on, because the moment that they had the opportunity to betray me, they betrayed me to the core. So it was a situation where there's something that happened. There was a misunderstanding that took place, and I didn't do the thing. I didn't say the thing. But what happened was my friends tried to get they try to get themselves out of the situation, and the way for them to get out of the situation was to really pin the blame on me. So listen up. These were friends I grew up with. I call them friends because I believe they were friends at the time. And when a situation came, the first person they blamed it on was me. I was deeply hurt because at the moment I had no one. These were my friends. These were people that I relied on. And I think I had just become a believer. Maybe I'm trying to see how many years I was a believer already, maybe 2 years into my Christian walk. So I was like, this is some shady stuff, like super shady. And then all of a sudden, you know what happened with me? Because I went back to the mode of how I was before I was a Christian. I was like, you're cut off. Like, I'm super done with you. I'm sort of kind of like that. I have a little bit of grace now, but I was like, I'm done. How could you cause this pain and hurt? Not only that, literally lie about me, and you were my friends. It was about like maybe 4 of these ladies. And so at that time, I became what I call alone. I was alone. I didn't want no friends, especially girls, like women. I didn't want anything to do with these women because they were like conniving. They were wicked, plain out wicked. So what I did was I cut them off. I did. I cut them off, but I'm going to share something with you. I cut them off, and I had to ask God to help me to walk in forgiveness. I really did. And how I ended up walking in forgiveness, I'm just going to share this with you guys because I was a baby Christian at the time. I was 2 years, and I was still considering myself a baby Christian. And I really at first it was like, why God? Why? And any hurt that you may have gone through, you probably, even right now, if you're going through something, if there's something you've gone through and you kind of agree with this or this resonates with you, just leave a comment down below and let me know how it resonates. Because we've all been through things, through some pain and some hurt, and we're like, why God? Why did this happen to me? I'm a loyal person, or I'm a great person, or, I've served you faithfully. What is going on? And we sit there and we're like, God, why? I just want to understand what is going on. So I had that phase. I was at the phase of why? I just want to understand, why would these people betray me? And you know what I had to understand? I had to understand this, that number one, with the call of God upon my life and the call of God upon your life, but for me in that situation, the call of God upon my life, I was like, you know what? My view of this has to change, because my view at first was, how dare they betray me? I was nothing but a loyal friend to them. I was nothing but a loyal sister to them. How dare you betray me? And then I started to look at something after like reading the Bible, right? I started getting to the Bible and understand forgiveness, but then really started getting to the Bible and starting to see the stories of how, some people just betrayed each other in the word. And I was like, you know what? I know exactly what this is. I started to understand. This was after some time of going through it. It was hurt. I mean, I'm not even gonna lie. I cried. I shed some tears. I not only beside asking why, had to fast a little bit. And there was something that hit me. I said, I know what it is. I've been set apart. I know exactly what this is now. God is delivering me from these people because I was so attached to this group of friends that I believe that to this day, if the whole group together was part of my life, like, I mean, together, like God had to separate some things and some people are here. But if this whole group, if I would have stayed there and not separated myself, I would have never grown. I would have never evolved. So I looked at it and I said, there is purpose within this pain. There was purpose within the pain, and the purpose was to set me apart. God started the process of setting me apart. And I was like, I had to say, thank you, God. Wherever you are right now, if this has happened to you, just begin to thank him right now. Just take a pause. That's right. We're pausing right now and we're saying thank you. We're saying thank you because just think about it for a second. If God didn't set you apart, take a look at the life of those people right now who have hurt you, whether it be an ex-boyfriend, whether it be an ex-girlfriend, whether it be your childhood best friend, and you take a look at their life now and you're like, oh my God, that's what I would have been stuck in. And you look at your life now and you're like, God, thank you for grace. Thank you for mercy. I just thank you right now. As a matter of fact, God, you're so good. I thank you right now. Like, you never fail me. You're here and you never fail me. You are with me. And that's how I had to look at it, because once I realized that I was set apart, I said, okay, I began to look at it different, although I was still kind of hurt. And I'm going to be honest, it was hard for me to even begin to trust people. But what I started doing was I started praying aggressively to forgive them. I was praying aggressively and I was like, God, help me to walk in forgiveness. And then I started praying for them aggressively. What I mean by that was I was like, God, I forgive them. Lord, help them, deliver them. God, I pray that they walk in your assignment, your purpose. God, help them. I may not have those words at the time, but I was praying for them. Help them, Lord. Help them to see what they did. Help them to see how they hurt me. And then once I got off of me, I just started saying, I forgive them. I forgive them. I was aggressively forgiving those people that caused pain, that caused hurt in my life. I forgave them because you know what? When you hold on to that pain and that hurt, this is what it does to you. Number one, if you are living in unforgiveness, you become trapped. They're not even trapped. It's you. You're trapped. So I was like, number one, I know my personality. I know what I'm not about to do is sit here and let you be in my mind all day, every day. That's number one. Number two, I know that I have a purpose for my life. And at the time, I didn't really know what it was. But I knew for me, there was always something greater. And I was like, I'm going to achieve that. I'm not going to let anything stop me because I got to get out of this. So I aggressively forgave them. That's how I got over the pain and the hurt. And every single day, I laid it at the feet of Jesus. I really did. Because his mercies are new every single morning. I'm not saying I'm perfect. There are times I really wanted to rip their heads off. Let's just be honest. I wanted to rip their heads off because when people do you wrong like that, the first thing any flesh wants to do, because I was still fleshly, I still had a little hood in me. The first thing I wanted to do was I wanted to turn around and get revenge because I felt like the best revenge was revenge. But God says, let him vindicate you. Let him fight your battles. I kid you not, God began to fight my battles for me. I didn't have to do a thing. God began to fight my battles for me because this is what happens when you touch, I'm going to say God's anointed. And I'm also going to say a child, like we're all children of God, but when you touch, a precious child that he loves and you begin to bad mouth them really crazy, God will fight for you because I trust the Lord and I knew that he would vindicate me. And I kid you not, one by one, God began to deal with each and one of those ladies in different situations. Now, am I happy? No, but I will tell you this, don't come for me. That's what I will tell you because I know who I am in Christ. And I don't have to say a thing to you. I just let God deal with you. And that's how you need to, that's what you need to do. Let God deal with the situation. Now, if you're dealing with pain and hurt in a different way, perhaps you like lost somebody, that's a whole totally different situation. And within that situation, I truly believe that is just really, now the only way I can identify with that is because my oldest sister, I have 7 sisters and 4 brothers. Yeah. 7 sisters and 4 brothers. My oldest sister passed away when I was younger. And when she passed away, it was devastating for us. She passed away actually a year into me giving my life to Christ. So I remember, I think I was 16 years old. And that was hard to grieve. It was a grieving process, and it is hurtful. It is painful. And I can't say you can't really get over it, but what you can do is you can surrender it to Jesus, and he can begin to help you through that healing process. I say fasting helps, but allowing yourself to grieve as well. Grieve, grieve, grieve. Allow yourself to cry it out. Allow yourself to just talk to Jesus, get it all out, do what you got to do. I'm saying if you got to throw a pillow across the wall, sister, throw a pillow across the wall. Do what you got to do. Get it out of your system and cry and surrender it at the feet of Jesus, because he's near to the brokenhearted. If that's the situation that you went through. I grieved my sister for years. And then after that, it just, not years, maybe like a year. And then I would remember her after. And then it slowly started to just kind of pass, and now it's just great memories of what she's done for her kids. So it's things like that. But that in that situation, I would say really, in all of them, surrender it at the feet of Jesus. But we've all been through some pain and some hurt. And I believe the way to kind of you can't avoid it all, right? Because life is a journey. It's a process. And we're definitely going to go through some things that are really going to that just going to try to take us out, because the enemy is always looking for a way to kill, steal, and literally destroy us. I kid you not. There are times, I remember after I went through that situation with the friends, there were times where I didn't even want to have friends. It was hard for me to open up and trust anybody again, because I was like, sis, if I become your friend, are you going to cut me? I had trust issues. I really did. I had some bad trust issues at the moment, but I still loved people, but I didn't want to let people in. So that's a sign where you can see like you're still dealing with that hurt, that pain a little bit, is because you are afraid to let people in. Because you're always thinking they're going to come and they're just going to cut me. But I had to get so secure in Christ and understand that he is my best friend, and understand that I can trust him. And then I began to ask God for wisdom on even making the right friendships. My husband spoke to me. He was teaching me this, and he was saying, because this is something that he learned, and he was like, you got to ask God for wisdom. And I remember I was like, okay, yeah, sure. Because I didn't understand wisdom at the time. And he would always say, ask God for wisdom, ask God for wisdom. And I didn't take it serious. But once I started asking God for wisdom in every area of my life, not just how to speak to people, but wisdom in making decisions, wisdom on just having the ability to discern between right and wrong friends, who to share my conversations with, I became super tight-lipped. Like, I ain't telling you nothing that you can go and use against me, right? I'm sure many of you have gone through that. So when I started asking God for wisdom, I started to see what started to happen. Number one, the right people started coming around me. And number two, I just wasn't sharing things. I just knew how to control the words that were coming out of my mouth. And I know that some people, when they came around at first, were just like, I can tell. The smart ones were like, I can tell you're not too open. You're pretty reserved. And I just had to turn back and say, life made me that way. Really did. Because how do you expect people who are new believers to come, when they come to Christ, and after they come to Christ, the family that they got into was the same family that turned against them? That's hard. That's absolutely hard to deal with. But I'll tell you what, God healed me from it, and I am a new person today. But I really wanted to share this with somebody because hopefully this can help somebody who has dealt with something. It may not specifically be my situation, but it definitely can be a situation where you're saying, my sister hurt me, my brother hurt me, my friend hurt me, or you were just hurt by a job situation. And people are going to hurt you. This is life. But guard your heart with all diligence, I'm telling you, because out of it flows the issues of life. My goal is to make it to heaven. My goal is to live here on earth as if I'm in heaven. My goal is to complete my assignment. I don't know what yours is, but that's my goal. And so I refuse to let pain or hurt break me. So if you're in that healing journey of overcoming hurt and pain, if you're in that journey of just seeing how to get over the process, I would literally say maybe invest in a journal. If you get a journal and just begin to write those things out, begin to be like, write out your heart and say, God, like, this is what's happening to me. This is what I've been dealing with. These are the situations that I have been going through. Like, and you can literally bounce back. If you don't have anyone, I say find someone to talk to, but if you don't have anyone to talk to, talk to God. Get your journal out and begin to write out those things. There's something therapeutic about writing in a journal. I love it. I can write in a journal every single day. There's just something therapeutic about it, and you start to bounce back, and you don't realize it's because you've let out those feelings. You've let it out. You let go. It's like a deliverance that's literally taking place because you decide to put it there. It's a deliverance that's taking place. So write it out. I'll tell you the other hurt. There's another hurt of pain that I went through. And this pain was severe, and it was pain that had to do with my family. And I'll tell you this because my family's background, I'll share that on another episode. But my family's background is very different from the normal family. So, but that was pain and hurt. I was separated from my family. I didn't have a relationship with my family for over 4 years at one point. Didn't see my mom or my dad, my sisters or my brothers. We didn't have a relationship for a while at that point. And I had to walk in forgiveness, and I struggled with that daily. Daily, I struggled with that. But the Lord helped me. And I had to set aside, I would say almost like pride. I had to set that aside, and I finally had made the conversation that I needed to, where I called my dad and began to just talk to him, and I apologized for my part in our disagreement. Yeah, coming from a Haitian family, you go ahead and you try doing that. You won't hear the end of it. And that's how it was on the other end of that phone call. I didn't hear the end of it. But you know what I felt? I felt a release in my spirit when I did that. Like nothing was going to hold me back anymore. Like I wasn't imprisoned, because daily I would sit there and I would think to myself, I'm not talking to my parents. I don't feel right. I'm not talking to my family. I don't feel right. And in order for me to bounce back, I had to make it right. I had to make it right on my end. So you got to kind of ask yourself, in order for me to bounce back from the pain and hurt, what do I have to do on my end? It doesn't matter about their response. That's the number one thing I have learned. When it comes to people who hurt you, you have to ask yourself, what do I have to do on my end to make it right? It doesn't matter what's going on their end, but how do I make it right on my end? How do I fix this? How do I fix what was broken? What is causing this wound? What is causing this pain in me? How do I fix it? How do I make it right? You turn around, you forgive. You go and have a conversation if you have to. Oh, there's a whole nother one that I could share with y'all. There's a family member too, where I wasn't getting along with the family member. And, man, that was a hard one. That was a hard one to overcome, because when you walk with somebody daily, you talk with somebody daily, and you love them daily, and all of a sudden you disagree on something and it caused so much pain and hurt. I have to say, with all of these situations, forgiveness is the key. And every single time, here's the thing with forgiveness too. Every single time that thought comes back again, where you feel like, gosh, it stings, here's that pain, forgive them again. Don't let the devil win. Don't let the enemy have a grip over you. I'm telling you, every single time you feel like it comes, forgive again. Every single time the thought comes in your mind, let it go, forgive again. And I'm telling you, this is the way you're going to succeed and you're going to thrive. Because I feel like what the enemy wants to do is he wants to snare the people of God. And he wants you to remain at a place to where you can't grow. He wants you to stay right here, where there's no movement, there's no acceleration, there's no glory upon your life, there's nothing, because all there is bitterness and hate, and that's all you can think about is this person doing you wrong. And so it becomes your everything, it becomes your actions, it becomes how you move, because once you meditate upon a thought, you start to behave that way, you start to speak that way. It starts to flow from every fiber of your being. And girl, that's one thing I refuse to let happen. I do not want to sound like an angry black woman. You know how they be saying that, angry black woman? It's like, I do not want to sound like that person. I don't want to sound like that person that's always complaining about somebody. I want to move forward. So in order to bounce back, forgive. That's the key. Forgive. And each time a thought comes again, forgive again, and open up your mouth. And if you can, have a conversation with the person, because right there, you're going to see if you forgive. I challenge you. That's your challenge, guys, this week. Like, if there's someone that has caused pain and hurt in your life, if you can have a conversation, if you can, sometimes there's boundaries, you got to set boundaries. That's the other thing too. But if you can have a conversation, go ahead and have the conversation. Be careful of the type of conversation you have. I'm not saying to have a confront them conversation. I'm saying to have a conversation of where you're talking to them like, hi, hello, how are you? And that's it, move it on. I'm not saying, because some people, that's the other thing too. After pain and hurt, things you've gone through, there's no point of even having a conversation about the situation unless the party can handle that. That's what I'm going to say. But number 2, create boundaries. I've created boundaries in certain relationships that have caused me some pain and hurt. And I'm telling you, it's just great. I can't say anything else except it's great. When you create those boundaries, you're not saying that I'm living in unforgiveness. You're not saying that I hate you. You're just saying, hey, I forgive you. I love you, but I'm not letting you in for you to make the same mistake over and over and over again. I forgive you, like the Bible says, right? To forgive 77 times 7. I definitely forgive you, but I'm not giving you the room to go ahead and scar and just keep plucking that thing again. Just keep poking me in that area again. I'm not giving you that room. So there's boundaries. There's boundaries in our conversation. We can talk, hi, hey, how are you? But we will not have a conversation. You're not allowed into that space for me anymore. That's what I got to say. So someone here, you might be going through that. And I just want to say, I pray for you that God will send you the divine relationships, divine mutually beneficial relationships that won't cause any hurt or any pain upon your life. Relationships that you can just love people and they're going to love you, and that's the way it's going to be. But just those divine relationships. And I believe that God is doing that in this season. He is bringing people who will walk in love with you. And if they do cause pain and they do cause hurt, forgive them. Life is short. You don't have time to sit there and dwell on pain. You don't have time to sit there and dwell in the hurt. All you can do is move forward. That's all you can do is move forward. And that's it. All right. So anyways, move forward. This is how you bounce back from pain or hurt. Don't let it get to you. And you're going to thrive in this season, and you will see it, because the enemy cannot stop you, because you're not going to give him any room. God bless you.